Hi, it is time to check out relevant, useful Knoxville and Knox area websites. So I'm putting this together because I have a ton of clients who are moving to the Knoxville area. Sometimes sight unseen. They've never been here either. Just stuff happens, right? And like I can access certain tax records, etc., like through the MLS, but all the information or most of the information I can access about public records is available to their public, right? So I might go specifically to the MLS tax suite, but you can find these on other websites that are for everyone. So also, I just want to encourage people to know like what's going on, what are resources, like what stuff that's helpful. I try to provide good information about stuff to do and stuff to know, but also, I mean, we have the internet and I'm only one person, right? So anyways, that being said, this video is all about useful links and websites for the Knoxville-Knox area, and even some of this is relevant to the entire state of Tennessee. So that being said, get your computers. You might want to go there with me and let's get discovering. All right, so here is the overview sheet. Make sure I think this view is correct. Okay, I'm hoping you can see my face. So, overview, general property information. We're gonna look at some maps. We're gonna talk about some city versus county websites, weather-related risks, aka flooding. I get this question all the time, and then stuff that I think just some honorable mention websites that I think. Well, I don't think, honey. I know. Okay. So let's start with just general property information. Two websites here, Tennessee Property Viewer and Knox County Property Search. Now, Knox County is a little bougie and they have their own. So if I go to Tennessee Property Viewer and I try to search Knox County, look at H-I-J-K, H-I-J-K, I-J-K. There is no K. There is no Knox County, right? So this is for basically every other thing except for Knox County. I didn't check Nashville. Yeah, so the Nashville area probably has their own. And then, you know what's so bad is I used to work in Memphis. I'm like, what county is that? Anyways, you get the picture. If you don't see your county here, the county has their own. They're metro. Okay. So what you would essentially do is, say, for example, you go to Blount County, you're going to type in parcel number, owner name, property address, subdivision. You're probably not going to have the parcel number. The parcel number is on the listing typically for the MLS. So you can sometimes see it on Realtor.com, the parcel ID. I think that's probably the most hard. So owner name, property. So obviously the address is going to be the easiest route to find information. You can also dig through subdivision. So I would also tell you that sometimes you have to finagle this a little bit and put a little bit of different information. Like if I, for example, put my house in and I put my address, it says not recognizable. If I put my husband's name, I can find it after I dig. But our last name is Jones. Just think about that for a second. Anyways, okay. So I want to show you, I don't want to like disclose anyone's personal land information. So just so you can see what exactly you can see on this website. So first of all, this is things like the property assessment, how much are like what percentage of taxes are being assessed, what is the market appraisal, which again, the market appraisal, how a property assessor appraises the value is not the market value. So this property would be sold for much more than $267,000, but this is telling you how they're assessing for tax purposes. It tells you things like zoning. It tells you which district it's in. Here's your zoning R1. It's telling you, this is another one that is key. Notice utilities here. It says water, sewer, public / individual, which this implies that public water, so this is telling you that water is public and sewer is a septic tank. If it says individual, that means it's not on public sewer, okay? So that's a septic tank. There are some sort of like special septic tanks, like Telco Village has an other, but it's like a grinding sewer system. Anyways, utilities, gas, there is none. Utilities, electricity, it is public. So they're not generating their energy with a Honda generator. It tells you the zoning as well. Usually neighborhood is going to say the name of a neighborhood. It tells you information about the property. And then also you get a sketch of the property. Now I would take these sketches with a grain of salt because these are dated. So, and it even tells you in some instances, the areas depicted, the areas depicted on the sketch may not perfectly match the areas listed under building areas due to timing differences. Work on resolution, blah, 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 blah. So they're working on that, but I'm just saying, be careful here. Now, also, you can see a map of the parcel, and those parcel pieces is the same overlay that you see on Realtor.com or Zillow. That is not a perfect overlay. That is not an actual official survey. So when you see those I feel like I'm screaming at you. I want to apologize because this comes up a lot. And how can you tell they're not exact? Well, for example, when you zoom in, you'll see that the property line is out in the street. No. So just keep that in mind when you're seeing maps of properties with overlays on them. Nothing is precise except the description of the deed and an actual survey. So keep that in mind. Okay. So that is the Knox County Property Bureau, or Tennessee Property Bureau. That's for any Tennessee property outside of several larger counties that use their own website. So for example, Knox County has their own website, and you can tell that you're going to enter in similar information here. You do remember that there are toggles. So you can tell it to search by owner. You can tell it to search by city. You can tell it by the parcel ID if you have it. The parcel address. And so it gives very, very similar information. And that kind of looks like this. So here's where you put in the info. And then you're going to get, on this website, you get a whole, again, I don't want to like out anyone's property. So I screenshotted a property, like an address or whatever. And you can see on the side of the screen as you're searching, it's going to give you, it gives you a menu of options. I think, yes. So it gives you this menu. So this is a screenshot from the property I looked at. So legal, sales. So legal is like this stuff up here. This is all the legal stuff. What should we know? What should we know about this property right here? Tax year, residential, what's the zoning, blah, blah, blah. Does it have water or sewer? Yes. Gas? Yes. Electricity? Yes. So that tells you all those things. It also tells you the sell price, sell summary, and then it tells you how property has been assessed. Now, what's cool about this website specifically is you can see the appraised value historically. Why that matters. For example, I had a client, her father passed away. She was the heir of the property, and for tax purposes, she needed the appraised value whenever she acquired the property, and then she later sold it. So her accountant was wanting to know the appraised value. Now you could theoretically, or you could 100% plug in the amount of taxes that were paid, because you can see that on the tax record. Like a general tax record has how much taxes were paid. So you can back into the equation and find out the appraised value that year. But that is a pain. Okay, so you can just go, if it's a Knox County property, you can just go to the Knox County, this website, this one that we're talking about, Knox County, and you can see the values. So super helpful there. Something to keep in mind. Want to put a bug in your ear in case someone needs an appraised value at a random historical time. You also have just information about the property. Now this is saying residential because I pulled a house, but you can see had it been commercial, you would have information. Was it land, agricultural land, all of those things. It would tell you that stuff. And then again, this is going to be 99% accurate. Some of this is not going to be accurate, not updated. I can't remember what property I pulled because this is saying built in 1955. I have no idea which property that was. That I pulled, but it's also telling you total rooms, number of bedrooms, number of full bathrooms, etc. And then you can also see the layout. Now this is not as good of a sketch to me as the one from Tennessee Property Viewer. Notice, like, maybe it's just because of the house, but this is actually color coded. So these sketches are super general. So keep that in mind. And you can also see when it's saying KGIS, you can plug in the website. And I just want to point out this KGIS gives you these different options. You can do map, aerial, topography, or the FEMA. So this is an example of what a FEMA might look like. And so the property I was looking at is over here. And so it's not in a flood zone, but you can see down here, this is like more blue. Well, on this FEMA flood map, you can tell that these areas here are more prone to flooding. So the best way to tell is on the tax record, like your agent can tell you, is flood insurance required. But these websites do not tell you that. So FEMA, this KGIS website is great, but this takes us to our next website, which is risk factor. So a ton of people ask me all the time about flood risk. And this website, risk factor, is telling you different risks. Now, I want to say this. You have got to take what they're saying with a grain of salt, because this website says, does Knoxville have flood risk? And then it says it's severe. It says there are 8,000 properties in Knoxville that have a greater than 26% chance of being severely affected by flooding over the next 30 years. This represents 14% of all properties. So 14% of properties have a 26% chance of being affected by flooding over the next 30 years. This is not saying the entire town is going to flood, okay? That's whoever's out there spreading this rumor, you're wrong. Okay, 14% of properties are at risk. And so there's a mapping here. It shows you like where extreme factors are, but most importantly, you can enter in an address and it will show you. So this is what that looks like. Again, I did this before. I didn't want to like out someone's property. So this is just an example of what that looks like. So when you put the property in, it'll say this property has a risk from 2 of 4 environmental factors. The specific property I looked at, minimal flood factor, you can see here it is on the map, and the blue areas are where there's concern around flooding. It's not around that. Minimal fire, minor wind, and then major heat factor, which I think is interesting because, I mean, I need to see who has like a minor heat factor. Like, what is that? The coldest place on earth? Antarctica? You know what I mean? Like the North Pole? I don't know. Because if we're major heat factor here, that's weird. Now, humidity I get, but still, like, obviously we don't have dry heat, but I'm just saying. Okay, so this is an example of the stuff you're going to find when you go to flood factor. And I, again, want to say you got to take this with a grain of salt. And more importantly, if you are looking at a property, you can have your agent or your lender look and see if flood insurance is required. If that is a no-go for you, then you move on. Now, some properties, lakefront, waterfront, etc., obviously we're going to be more likely to have, to have to carry flood insurance. It depends on where the house sits on the property, how the property is, etc. So you can also straight up ask the seller, have they had a flood problem? So if they are carrying flood insurance, they will tell you, is this an issue? Has this been an issue? How far has the water come up? Like, for example, had clients looking at a property in Blount County, beautiful property. It was about 4 acres. Well, it seemed very low lying in certain parts. And so I went over, like I do, and talked to the neighbor, and I was like, hey man, I didn't say it that way, but you know what I mean. I went and made friends, and I just asked him how much of this floods. And he said, well, about half of this property floods. Well, that was the 2 acres where you would want to put a house because it was flat. Okay, so that would not have worked. So I would just say definitely do your due diligence there. But if it isn't a true flood zone, risk factor is going to tell you it is in a high area. I just think that some of this language here, like it's severe, is a little bit dramatic. Okay. All right. So that is risk factor. Again, you can look at fire. You can see about historical information. It is a really good website. And I do love how you can put in an address and go find out more information. Sometimes it's going to make you give your email address, just give them the spam one. Okay. You know what I'm saying? Unless you want to go access it. You know what I mean? Okay. Next up, we have maps and planning. So this is things like school zones. So let me show you specifically what I'm talking about. So this is the KGIS website. A couple things that we notice automatically is we see Knox County as a whole. We see in yellow Knox City, and we see Farragut over here. So just wanted to point that out to you. So let's look at, for example, school zone map. So if I pull this down and I'm like, oh, I got a red alert over here. If I click on that, it's going to give me information about school zones. I'm going to zoom in so you can see that there are some changes in zoning because there's a new elementary school coming in. Notice it's saying 2023 through 24 is K second, 24-25 is K through 5. So this is showing you like what a change would look like. For example, you can see right here, this is what this is going to look like. So, but I can take that off and I can put elementary school zones, and then I can see, for example, where stuff is. So you can see Sequoia, Rocky Hill, A.L. Lots. You can see all of the different schools. You can even overlay and see, okay, well, here's where the high schools are. What is their zoning? I think this is cool. Maybe because I used to be a teacher for Knox County. I don't know. I just think it's super cool. Political maps. You can see where are the school board districts. Farragut ward. So this is two different pieces of Farragut. Again, that's related to political stuff. Also, if you click on, what is this historical aerials? Oh, this is cool. 1935 aerial. What do we see? Look at that. How cool is that? So if you are a geek, and I mean that in the nicest way, I want to show you something. Okay, 1935, obviously, you know, that's a long time ago. If I go to 1995, please show me what I'm looking for. How do they do this? You can't even see what you're looking at. Is this 240 scanned photographs from 1995 covering roughly 25%. Okay, so let's go to 96, 98. What I'm trying to see is Hardin Valley, the change. So these are aerial photos, 96 to 98. If I skip to 2010, we see, here's Hardin Valley over here, FYI. 2009, what do we see? 2003, what do we see? This looks green. Literally, it looks all green. If I scan in, does it get more? Not really. Okay, so we see like okay, so look at this one. This is 2003. Now let's look at 2020. It doesn't even look that different. That is crazy. Because like Hardin Valley Academy did not even exist. I'm mind blown. I'm literally mind blown. It looks the same. What a letdown. This is still a great website. Okay. All right. So anyways, if you're a map person, you want to know all kinds of things, this is a really great resource. And then the other thing I wanted to show you is you can see topography. Now, people come here and they act shocked that it is not flat. Okay. Well, we are in the valley. We're just west of the mountains. So this can kind of give you an idea of, notice Hardin Valley, by the way, hilly, right? Versus what you see in Farragut. All of this, look at this. This is like deep cairns. You have neighborhoods where the entrances are literally like this. Anyways, so topography, kind of cool. Historical, which shouldn't really change that much, right? I don't know. I guess it wouldn't really be changing. Soil, I would be careful with this one. If you're looking at a piece of land and you need to know specifically about the soil, I would have it soil tested, have it perked, but this could be a good, general resource. All right, on to the next. This one is another one that I geek out on. I don't know if you could tell I was geeking out on the KGIS website, but this Knox County Knox Planning, this website, you can actually back out of this and go to the Knoxville Planning website. But for the purposes of this, what I wanted to show you were the resources tab and the tools. And I think this is cool because you can see what's happening in terms of development across the map. Where are the permits, what's happening, who's doing what. It's super cool. And you can tell, like, you can click on whatever and it'll tell you what's the date of this, what's happening, etc. You can see what's new, and I just think it's super cool. Oh, Zoom thinks I'm raising my hand. I'm not waving my hand. Why would I raise my hand for myself, Zoom? This was my favorite one for the purposes of being informational, because you can see these are new things that are happening, recent updates. So Baker Creek Bottoms, as an example, that is in South Knoxville, and it will tell you what this is. And this is actually where this is where 71 South is. Lots of cool stuff going on, happening. Crafty Bastard is there. This is next to the bike park. So super cool website, an awesome place to find out what's happening locally in terms of new stuff going on. Okay, next up we have, I'm going to save this events, fun, and blogs for later. For the end. Okay, City of Knoxville specific. So as you saw on this map, we have City of Knoxville in here, and then we have Knox County. So that's all out here. So City of Knoxville is a little bit different. City of Knoxville, you're paying two taxes. You're paying Knox County taxes and city taxes. So for example, you have different services in the city than you would have in Knox County. So if I go to the Knox County website, which did I not click on it? Apparently I did not. Here, oh, look at that. Rocky Top. Anyways, okay, you can see all kinds of services. This is going to tell you everything about what your services are, what do you need to know, what days is garbage pickup in your neighborhood. It will tell you everything, just general government type of information. I wish that this hand would go down, but I don't know how to do that within presenting mode. Why it's having me as a presenter raise my hand is a great question. So anyways, this is general Knox area, Knoxville city information. And really, I mean, this is more like on the government side of things, government services, city services. There's links to Knox area transit here, etc. But if you want to know about ordinances and codes, so for example, I've had a client who they had horses. They wanted to know, could you have horses in the city? Well, here you can look under animals and it's going to tell you, first of all, what is a horse categorized, which happens to be livestock. Second of all, can you have a horse in the city? The answer is no, unless you have a permit. So for example, these people were coming from California and there is a acreage to horse ratio that applies. We do not have that here. However, you do have to have a permit to have a horse in the city. So that's where you would find this type of information. This is also where you find the rules about short-term rentals. This is where you find pretty much everything that you want to know about what's happening. Now, you also have zoning codes here and the different types of zones, what they are, what you can and cannot do, etc. So this is a really great website if you want to know what are the rules. And similarly, Knox County has sister websites that apply to Knox County only. So why would you go to this website? Well, specifically in Knox County, say you're moving and you have a bunch of stuff, but you have not gotten your trash service set up yet. Knox County has waste center locations. So this website is a place where you would go to find that out. And this is not as user-friendly in my opinion. Like, obviously you're gonna have to dig around a little more. This is taking us back to that website I showed you, but like, for example, I know for a fact that this is where you go to find the waste centers, and the fact that there it is, boom, right there. So this is going to tell you, this is where you can take your trash. These are the hours. This is what's allowed, blah, blah, blah. So this is services, but it is a little bit different because they're county only. And then in the same way, there's also a county ordinances website. Again, you see, we've got this animals. We've got things about zoning. We've got taxation, everything you need to know, all the rules that are here. Interestingly, I did bring up short-term rentals when I was talking about city ordinances. And as of right now, this current date, Knox County does not have specific rules or ordinances about short-term rentals. Although in August, that was a topic of conversation at the county commission. So anyways, that being said, like you can see too, this is what's coming up down the pike. You can see some of these are as of May. So this is May 19th, which I don't know what they've been doing. No, I'm just kidding. But anyways, so this is where you see all those rules. Okay, last three: events, fun things, and blogs. So Visit Knoxville is an awesome place to go to look and find events. As you can see, you can click on events. You can actually search by type. You can search by date. So we can look at the whole month of November. If we go here, we're going to see, dun, 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 the Fantasy of Trees should be starting on this day. If you don't know Fantasy of Trees is, go watch my November events video if you're watching this in November, because I'm making this in November, so you may not be watching this in November. I'm just so excited about the month of November for the Fantasy of Trees. Anyways, but this website has all kinds of stuff on it. You can search this. Also, a lot of people will put their farmers markets here, all kinds of stuff. Totally a great website. Greek Fest, concerts, everything right here. And you can see like there's also some blogs about what to do, fun stuff to do, how to plan, where to stay, blah, 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 etc., etc. Love this website. Lots of great information about specific neighborhoods as well. So I would dig around here and you can see all kinds of fun information. So now let's talk about two blogs. I know there's a lot more than just two blogs, but two that I want to mention to you that I think have great information. One is Inside of Knoxville, and this has all kinds of information. This is typically like the latest info about what's happening with local downtown restaurants, who's closing, who's opening, etc., what's happening on the food end of things, which I love. So I think that this is a great blog. He gets in there, he takes pictures. It's a really good blog. So that is definitely one that I would check out. And then if you want more activity based or things to do, the Knoxville Moms blog, even if you're not a mom, has great information. They have things like free stuff to do in the fall. Every year they'll put pumpkin patches. They put where to go see Christmas lights, stuff to do in the summer, like all kinds of stuff. So anyways, these are all helpful websites in the Knoxville and Knox County areas. And then obviously some in Tennessee as well. So this would include Blount County information. This would include stuff about Sevier County. And then you can also know that for those counties, they have similar websites. So this is specific to Knox area. I hope this has been super helpful. And of course, if you have questions, oh, this is how you lower your hand. Why did it do that? I mean, I know it's automatic and it's like AI, like, hey, and it's saying I'm raising my hand, but I'm literally the only person on here. So why would I raise my hand for myself? Zoom, if you ever see this, do better. I'm just kidding, but I'm kind of not. Anyways, I hope this has been helpful. And if you would like more local Knox area East Tennessee information, as always, click subscribe because I have so much more to tell you. And I'll see you on the next video.